The year is 189. Emperor Ling lies dying in his palace at Luoyang. He is only 33 years old, worn out by wine, women, and the slow poison of court intrigue. Two sons stand in the shadow of his deathbed. The elder, Lu Bian, is a teenage boy with no discipline and less intelligence, born to Empress He, a butcher's daughter. The younger, Lu Xie, is 9 years old, quick-witted and composed, raised by his grandmother, Empress Dowager Dong. Ling wants the younger boy to rule, but he does not have the courage to say so out loud. So he whispers his wish to the one man he trusts, a eunuch named Jian Shuo. This whisper will drown the Han dynasty in blood. Jian Shuo commands the Western Garden Army, 8 elite regiments stationed inside the capital. He is a eunuch, but unlike the palace servants people imagine, he is a soldier. Broad-shouldered, cold-eyed, he understands power as simply as a knife understands flesh. When the emperor dies, Jian Shuo seals the news. No one outside the palace knows. He sends a messenger to General He Jin, the empress's half-brother and the most powerful man in the court. The message says the empress requests his presence for an urgent meeting. He Jin, a butcher's son who rose through his sister's legs, hesitates for just a moment. Then he walks through the palace gates. But He Jin is not a fool. He leaves his army outside the walls. And he brings his own guard. When he steps into the palace corridor, he sees the trap. Armed eunuchs crouch behind every pillar. Their swords are half drawn. He Jin turns and runs. He bursts back through the gates, mounts his horse, and gallops to his camp, shouting orders as he rides. The assassination fails. Jian Shuo's blade finds only air. Now the eunuch knows he has lost. He Jin knows he has won. And both men begin to sharpen their knives for the next round. He Jin sends a message to his sister, the Empress Dowager He. She is now regent for her son, the new emperor, Lu Bian. He demands that she issue an order to execute the 10 regular attendants. The empress refuses, not because she loves the eunuchs, but because she fears the chaos their death would bring. He Jin is a general. He thinks in terms of victory. She is a politician. She thinks in terms of survival. So He Jin does something reckless. He summons the provincial warlords to march on Luoyang, to force his sister's hand. Among those summoned is a young governor from the northwest named Zhang Jue. The eunuchs learn of this plan. They have spies everywhere. Now they know they have no choice. They go to the Empress Dowager and beg for mercy. They tell her that He Jin is a butcher who will cut them all down, and after he cuts them, he will cut her son's throne from under her. The empress wavers. She agrees to one last meeting between her brother and the eunuchs. A peace conference, she calls it. He Jin is suspicious, but he cannot refuse his sister. He enters the palace one more time. This time, there is no mistake. As He Jin passes through the main hall, the eunuchs close the doors behind him. Zhang Rang, the godfather himself, steps forward with a sword in his hand. He Jin tries to speak, to bargain, to threaten. Zhang Rang does not listen. He runs the blade through the butcher's belly. He Jin falls to the marble floor. Blood spreads across the white stone like a red flower. The eunuchs cut off his head and throw it from the palace window. It lands in the courtyard with a wet thud. The message is clear. The eunuchs are not finished yet. But they have miscalculated. He Jin's lieutenants are waiting outside the palace. Yuan Shao, a young aristocrat with a famous name and a hungry ambition. Cao Cao, the cunning son of a eunuch's adopted son, who has no love for his adoptive uncles. When they see the head fall, they do not weep. They act. Yuan Shao orders the army to storm the palace gates. Soldiers pour into the forbidden city like water through a broken dam. They kill everyone in eunuch robes. Not just the 10 regular attendants. Every eunuch they can find. 2,000 men, perhaps more. Castrated, terrified, begging. They die on their knees. They die hiding in latrines. They die trying to climb the walls. Young Emperor Lu Bian, just a boy, runs through the burning palace holding his little brother's hand. Eunuchs carry him on their backs through secret passages, but the soldiers hunt them like dogs. The emperor hides in a latrine for 6 hours. He emerges covered in filth, weeping, unable to speak. His 9-year-old brother, Lu Xie, is calm. He takes charge. He finds an official seal and presents himself to the soldiers with dignity. No one forgets that moment. The boy who kept his head while his brother lost his mind. But the massacre at Luoyang does not restore order. It creates a vacuum, and into that vacuum rides Zhang Jue, the warlord He Jin himself had summoned. He arrives with a western army of 30,000 men, hardened by years of border wars against barbarian tribes. He finds the capital in chaos. The boy emperor in filth. The palace still smoking. The court officials quarreling over who should replace the dead eunuchs. Zhang Jue looks at this mess and smiles. He is not a subtle man. He does not negotiate. He simply marches his army into the city and announces that he is now in charge. Zhang Jue's first act is to depose the young emperor, Liu Bian. He calls the boy weak, unfit, illegitimate in spirit if not in blood. He places the 9-year-old Liu Xie on the throne instead. The boy who stayed calm in the latrine. The boy the old emperor wanted. The court is too terrified to object. Zhang Jue gives himself the title Chancellor of State, a position no one has held since the tyrant Qin Shi Huang nearly 400 years before. He does not bother with pretense. He does not ask for loyalty. He demands fear, and for a while, fear is enough. The eunuchs are dead. The generals are cowed. The Han dynasty is no longer a kingdom. It is a corpse, and Zhang Jue holds the knife. The massacre of Luoyang in 189 killed 2,000 eunuchs. But that number is small compared to what it unleashed. The old balance of power is gone. The eunuchs balanced the generals. The generals balanced the court. The court balanced the provinces. Now there is no balance. Only warlords with armies and a child emperor who sits on a throne made of ash. He Jin wanted to restore the Han. Yuan Shao wanted to cleanse the court. Cao Cao watched it all and said nothing. He learned a lesson that day. Power does not belong to the man who kills the tyrant. Power belongs to the man who watches the killing and waits for his turn.